Ryan sat alone on a bar stool, absently polishing a glass that had long lost its shine. The once vibrant atmosphere of O'Reilly's pub seemed like a distant memory, replaced by an unsettling silence. His father's voice echoed in his mind, recounting stories of camaraderie, laughter, and life that once filled the space. The bar, now abandoned by its regulars, had become a reflection of Ryan's uncertainty, his struggles to keep the legacy alive weighing heavily on his shoulders. Dust clung to the shelves, bottles stood untouched, and tables sat empty. Ryan sighed, staring at the dim lights overhead. He had tried to keep the pub going, tried to maintain his father's vision, but the spark was gone. It felt like he was losing a battle with the past, and the future seemed dim. The door creaked open, and a gust of wind swept in. A young woman with vibrant red hair stepped inside, her smile warm and infectious. She paused, taking in the bar's decor, old paintings, photographs, and memorabilia from the pub's better days, now gathering dust. "Wow, this place has a lot of character," she exclaimed, her voice bright and full of energy, a stark contrast to the quiet emptiness surrounding her. Ryan looked up, caught off guard by her enthusiasm. He was used to people avoiding the place, not praising it. "Yeah, you could say that," he replied, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Used to be a lot busier. I can imagine. Places like this have stories to tell." She moved closer to a crooked painting on the wall, adjusting it gently. "I'm Ashley, by the way. I'm an artist, and I love discovering hidden gems like this." "Ryan," he introduced himself, surprised by how easily she slipped into the environment. "Nice to meet someone who still sees potential here." Ashley's eyes sparkled with excitement as she turned toward him. "You know, this place would be perfect for an art night. You could invite local artists to display their work. People love seeing art in unique spaces." Ryan raised an eyebrow, unsure whether she was serious or just overly optimistic. "Art night? I don't know. We haven't had much of a crowd in a while. I'm not sure people would come." "Why not?" Ashley replied, undeterred. "This bar has history, charm. It's got character. If you gave it a fresh spin, I bet people would show up. I could help organize it. I know a lot of artists who'd love a space like this." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and though Ryan was hesitant, something about her energy stirred a flicker of hope in him. "I guess it couldn't hurt to try." Just then, one of Ryan's bartenders, Maria, wandered over, having overheard the conversation. "You know, Ryan, she's got a point. We could use something different to bring people in. Maybe live music, too." Ryan smiled faintly, feeling a sense of warmth spread through him. He hadn't seen this kind of excitement in his team for months. "All right," he said after a moment of thought. "Let's give it a shot." The night of the first art event arrived, and the transformation was stunning. The dim, dusty atmosphere had been replaced with warmth and color. Paintings of all sizes adorned the walls, giving the space a gallery-like feel. Strings of twinkling lights draped across the ceiling, casting a soft, inviting glow over the room. The bar that had once felt empty now buzzed with anticipation as patrons slowly began to fill the space. Ryan stood behind the bar, watching the crowd gather. It was the first time in a long while that the place felt alive again. He couldn't help but feel a small sense of pride. Maybe this was what his father would have wanted, after all. Ashley appeared by his side, beaming with excitement. "Look at this place," she exclaimed, her voice barely containing her joy. "People are really connecting with the art." Ryan nodded, still processing the change. "I didn't think we'd get this many people. I guess I underestimated the power of art." Ashley laughed. "You're not the only one. Art brings people together. It gives them something to talk about, something to experience." As the evening progressed, Ryan noticed how guests were interacting not just with the art but with each other. Strangers were becoming friends, talking about the paintings, the music, and the shared experience of being in the bar. It was a sense of community that Ryan hadn't felt in years. At one point, he watched Ashley as she stood surrounded by a group of guests, passionately explaining the meaning behind one of her pieces. It was a vibrant explosion of colors that depicted a sunset over the town, full of warmth and light. "This sunset represents hope for the future," Ashley explained, her eyes lighting up as she spoke. "It's about how every sunset brings the promise of a new dawn, even after the darkest days." Ryan listened from a distance, her words resonating with him. He hadn't realized just how much the bar's decline had affected him until that moment. Maybe there was hope for the pub, after all. "You've got a real gift for bringing people together," Ryan said, approaching her quietly as the group dispersed. Ashley smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I'm just sharing what I love. People connect when there's something real behind it." "Hey, you can't just barge in like that," Ryan shouted, his voice firm but edged with tension. He stepped forward instinctively, positioning himself between the man and Ashley. The man sneered, his words slurred but his intent clear. "What do you care? This place used to be mine before you decided to turn it into an art gallery." "Not tonight," Ryan said firmly, standing his ground. "This bar is for the community now. It's not a place for causing trouble." Ashley, sensing the tension, stepped closer, her voice calm but authoritative. "This is a space for everyone to feel welcome. But if you can't respect that, you need to leave." The bar fell into a hushed silence, all eyes on the confrontation. Maria, the bartender, stepped up beside Ryan, her arms crossed. "We're not going to let you ruin this," she said, her voice unwavering. The man chuckled darkly, swaying on his feet as he took in the room. "You think you can stop me? This was my bar too. I'll be back. You'll see." With one last glare, he stormed out, the door slamming behind him. The bar erupted into applause, the tension dissipating as quickly as it had come. Ryan let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding, his pulse still racing. "You handled that well," Ashley said, her voice soft but filled with admiration. "I wasn't sure what was going to happen." Ryan nodded, his thoughts still racing. "I wasn't sure either. But we can't let people like him drag this place down." As the weeks passed, the art nights continued to grow in popularity. The bar had gone from being a nearly forgotten relic to a thriving hub of creativity and community. Each event drew more people, and Ryan's once doubtful staff now eagerly contributed to planning and organizing the evenings. One night, after an especially successful event, Ryan found himself sitting at the bar with Ashley, the two of them chatting quietly as the last patrons trickled out. "You know," Ryan said thoughtfully, "I never imagined the bar could be like this. It's more than I hoped for." Ashley smiled, her eyes softening. "It's because you gave people a reason to come back. You didn't just keep the bar open. You gave it new life." Ryan looked around the room, taking in the paintings, the twinkling lights, the laughter that still lingered in the air. "I don't know if I could have done it without you." "You're giving me too much credit," Ashley replied, shaking her head. "All I did was suggest a few ideas. You were the one who made it happen." They shared a quiet moment, the bond between them growing stronger. Ryan hadn't expected to find someone like Ashley, someone who could see the potential in things, even when he couldn't. Ryan considered the idea, his mind already racing with possibilities. "That sounds incredible. We could even hold workshops, let people create together." Ashley's face lit up. "Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. We could bring in artists to teach, give people a chance to connect with their creativity." Over the next few weeks, Ryan and Ashley worked tirelessly to organize the exhibition. Word spread quickly, and soon artists from all over the town were signing up to participate. The excitement around the event was palpable. Everyone wanted to be a part of it. The night of the exhibition arrived, and the pub was transformed once again. The walls were covered with vibrant paintings, sculptures lined the room, and installations hung from the ceiling. The space felt more like a gallery than a bar, and the energy in the room was electric. The crowd erupted into applause, and Ryan felt a swell of pride. He hadn't just saved the bar, he had transformed it into something new, something meaningful. Just then, the door swung open, and Ryan's heart sank. Jake, an old classmate of his with a reputation for trouble, stepped inside. His presence immediately shifted the mood in the room, and a hush fell over the crowd. "What's this? An art show?" Jake sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. "This is what you've turned the place into?" Ryan stepped forward, his pulse quickening. "Jake, now's not the time to stir up trouble." Ashley joined him, her voice calm but firm. "This bar is for everyone, Jake. But if you can't respect that, you need to leave." Jake's face twisted in anger. "You think you can just turn this place into some kind of artsy hangout? This is my town too." The crowd began to murmur, sensing the rising tension. Ryan looked around, seeing the faces of the people who had come to support the bar, the community they had built. He realized that they weren't just patrons, they were allies. "We've worked hard to build something here, Jake," Ryan said, his voice steady. "This is about more than just a bar. It's about community. If you can't be a part of that, you're not welcome." Ashley added, her voice unwavering, "We're all here to build something better. You can be a part of it, or you can leave. The choice is yours." The crowd murmured in agreement, and Jake's bravado began to falter. He looked around, realizing he was outnumbered, out of place. "Whatever," he muttered, turning on his heel and storming out. As the door slammed shut behind him, the room erupted into applause once more. Ryan felt the tension drain from his body, relief washing over him. "You did it," Ashley said, her eyes bright with admiration. "You really did it." Ryan smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment he hadn't felt in years. "We did it," he corrected her. "We built this together." As the exhibition wound down, Ryan and Ashley stood side by side, watching the crowd slowly disperse. The bar, once on the verge of closing, was now alive with creativity, connection, and community. People lingered, sharing stories, laughing, and admiring the art. Sarah, a local reporter, approached them, her notepad in hand. "Ryan, Ashley, I'd love to feature your story in the local paper. What you've done here is amazing, and I think it could really inspire others in town." Ryan exchanged a look with Ashley, both of them surprised but thrilled. "We'd love that," he replied. "We want to spread the message of community and inclusion." As they began discussing the details of the article, the door opened again. Jake stepped inside, but this time, his demeanor was different. He hesitated, looking uncertain. "I came to apologize," he said quietly, his voice barely audible over the hum of conversation. "I've been going through some stuff, and I took it out on you. I'm sorry." Ryan felt a surge of compassion. "Thanks, Jake. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong." Ashley smiled, stepping forward. "We all go through tough times. What matters is how we move forward. You're welcome here if you want to be part of the community." Jake nodded, looking relieved. "I'd like that. I'd like to be a part of it." As Jake joined the crowd, Ryan and Ashley exchanged a look, both of them realizing that their journey was just beginning. They had built something special, something that honored the past but embraced the future. Together, they had created more than just a bar. They had created a community, a sanctuary, a place where people could come together, heal, and grow. And in that moment, Ryan knew that his father's legacy wasn't lost. It had simply evolved, becoming something even more beautiful than he could have imagined.